Right now, somewhere in your neighborhood, you're being studied, not by a scientist, not by a camera, by a crow. And that crow has already filed you into a mental category you will never know about. Researchers at the University of Washington discovered in 2011 that crows not only recognize individual human faces, they remember which ones are dangerous, and they pass that information to their offspring. Think about that. A bird watched you walk past once, made a judgment call, and then told its children about you. You have a reputation with a crow. You just don't know what it is. But here's the part that makes it genuinely strange. Every animal you have ever encountered, every dog, cat, pigeon, squirrel, and mosquito, has formed some version of a theory about what you are. None of them think you're a person. They have no framework for that. What they have is a pattern they've been quietly testing and updating every single time you show up. And some of their conclusions are completely, spectacularly wrong, in the funniest possible ways. Take dogs first, because dogs are the most interesting case of all. A dog knows you aren't a dog. You're taller, you smell like despair and dry shampoo, you walk on two legs, and your sense of smell is so bad it borders on a medical condition. And yet, despite all that strangeness, dogs slot humans directly into their social world. Not as aliens, not as furniture. As a very weird kind of family. Research published in the journal Animal Cognition found that dogs read human facial expressions with a level of accuracy that rivals human children. They track our gaze, they follow our pointing finger, something even chimpanzees struggle with. They notice when we're sad, they come closer. The scientific term for this is interspecies social bonding. The everyday translation is that your dog has basically decided you're a giant, useless, deeply beloved pack member who controls the food and somehow can't smell that the fox was in the yard 3 hours ago. When you leave the house, your dog doesn't think, my owner's going to a meeting. Your dog thinks the food wizard has disappeared again. And when you come back, that reaction isn't enthusiasm. That's the return of someone your dog was genuinely afraid had gone forever. Cats are an entirely different theory of humanity. Cats are solitary hunters. They have no concept of pack. When a cat rubs against you, stares at you, follows you around the apartment for no obvious reason, it isn't being social in the way a dog is being social. It is doing something stranger. Biologist John Bradshaw, who spent years studying cat behavior, concluded that many cats treat humans as they would treat other cats, specifically large and somewhat clumsy cats that live nearby and require management. Your cat developed meows specifically for you. Adult cats almost never meow at other cats. That vocalization evolved as a manipulation tool aimed directly at humans. Your cat invented a language to run you with, and it worked. A cat watching you struggle with a child-proof bottle cap is probably having the same emotional experience you have watching a friend lose a fight with a revolving door. Patient, slightly amused, not planning to help. But here's where it gets really interesting. Not all animals bother making a detailed theory about you at all. City pigeons, animals that have lived alongside humans for more than 5,000 years, have largely stopped processing us as individuals. Research from Lomonosov Moscow State University showed that urban pigeons do distinguish between humans who feed them and humans who don't. But a random human walking past, part of the texture. A large mobile object, similar to buses and bicycle racks that occasionally drops things. If pigeons had a nature documentary, humanity would probably be described as a species that exists to walk quickly and drop bread. Raccoons have a funnier interpretation. Raccoons encounter humans primarily through trash infrastructure. Every night, in every city in North America, raccoons emerge to find enormous containers of free food left in systematic locations, replaced on a weekly schedule. From a raccoon's perspective, human civilization looks like a highly organized leftovers distribution network run by confused giants who keep trying to lid the containers wrong. You built the internet. The raccoon knows about your pasta from Tuesday. And then there are mosquitoes. Mosquitoes cannot see your face. They cannot hear your voice. They have no awareness that you are a conscious being with feelings and a complicated relationship with your inbox. They detect carbon dioxide and body heat and land. That's the entire theory. Millions of years of human history, distilled by a mosquito into warm and exhalable. Snack. This sounds like a series of jokes, but the science underneath it is actually pointing at something important. Because what all of these animals are doing, from the crow filing your face in its memory, to the dog reading your sadness, to the mosquito detecting your breath, is a form of categorization that is much more accurate than it looks. Animals don't categorize us by what we say we are. They categorize us by what we do. Horses are one of the clearest examples. Horses can read human body language with extraordinary sensitivity. A 2016 study from the University of Sussex showed that horses remember the emotional expressions on human faces and use that memory to adjust their behavior. If you were angry last time they saw your face, they already know before you say a word. They're not reading your intention. They're reading your pattern. And here's the thing that stops being funny and starts being something else entirely. About 14,000 years ago, somewhere in what is now northern Israel, an elderly human being was buried. And buried with them, tucked carefully at their side, was a dog. The dog's paw was placed over the human's hand. Not dropped, placed. Archaeologists believe this is one of the oldest intentional human-animal burials ever found. We don't know the person's name. We don't know what they did for a living. We don't know anything about their beliefs or their social standing. But that dog had formed a theory about them. And whatever that theory was, whatever category this human fell into inside that animal's understanding of the world, it mattered enough for someone to honor it at the end. Maybe that dog thought the human was pack. Maybe it thought they were family in whatever limited sense a dog has family. Maybe it just knew this creature was safe. This creature was kind. This creature was mine. The dog didn't know their name. It knew their nature. And maybe that's the thing worth sitting with. We spend enormous energy managing the story of who we are. Our titles, our image, our carefully edited presentation of ourselves to other humans who are doing the exact same performance back at us. Animals skip all of that. They don't care about the performance. They don't have the cognitive hardware for the performance. What they have is attention. Pure, pattern-seeking, consequence-tracking attention. And they aim it directly at your behavior. A dog knows if you're generous before you've said a word. A horse knows if you're frightened before you know it yourself. A crow knows if you're a threat before you've done anything threatening. They don't see who you tell people you are. They see what you actually do when no one important is watching. Which means every animal you've ever encountered has had access to a version of you that might be more accurate than the one you carry in your own head. The crow remembers your face. The dog is waiting for you to come home. The cat has opinions it will never fully explain. And somewhere in your city, a raccoon is very grateful for whatever you threw away on Thursday. None of them know your name. They only know the kind of creature your behavior says you are. And honestly, that might be the most honest review any of us will ever get.